Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Doris Gonzalez, Executive Vice President at HESC. And joining me today from our HESC team are Sonia Griggs, Lisa Simpson, Mike Turner, and Daniel Cooper. We are really excited to spend this time with you this afternoon to talk about changes to TAP. Also, we want to share with you some of the new requirements around FAFSA and other HESC program updates. I know that many of you have either seen or read the 2024-25 budget that was announced by Governor Kathy Hochul that expands access to financial aid, including making FAFSA completion universal in New York State and expanding the tuition assistance program. So starting effective August 15, 2024, school districts are going to ensure that every high school senior completes the FAFSA or the New York State DREAM Act application. The students who choose not to fill out those applications have to sign a waiver indicating that they're aware of the financial aid that's available to them, but they choose not to pursue it. And the school districts are going to need to report on the class of 2025 beginning on July 1, 2025. So you've heard this before, I'm sure, but last year, New York's high school students left over $225 million in federal aid that was unclaimed because students didn't fill out the FAFSA. So this year, we see that the FAFSA submission rates are down almost 25% in New York State. And so that's why Governor Hochul is so committed to making sure that students know what aid is available to them and how they can access that support so they can go to college. So we're continuing to inform students and their families about the importance of filling out FAFSA and TAP so they can get the maximum amount of financial aid and to help students, get that post-secondary education. So far, we've had 458 events from January 23 to the present, compared to 209 events that we held the prior year. We've reached more than 16,000 students from these 458 events. And just this month, we have more than 26 events that we've already held. So Lisa is going to share more about the changes to TAP that Governor Hochul and the New York State Legislature supported, which is going to benefit more students in New York State, starting with this academic year. And these changes are going to benefit about 93,000 students in public and private colleges and universities, including 48,000 who are newly eligible for TAP. Lastly, Governor Hochul's budget also expands part-time TAP to proprietary colleges. So that change is estimated to benefit about 1,200 or so students. And we are currently updating our processing system to make sure that we get all of these changes. But basically, it's really great news for our students. We really have to be so proud of the work that we're all doing to make sure that students are completing their applications. And, this is all about HESC's mission of we help you pay for college. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
Okay, thank you, Doris. A few items before I get started with the presentation. A copy of this presentation is out on the HESC website. It's under the Financial Aid Professional section, so you can download a copy if you'd like. Also, if you have any questions, we ask that you put it in the question and answer section here, and we will answer them at the end of today's presentation. So today we're going to discuss the 24-25 enacted budget highlights, as Doris alluded to. We're going to provide you with processing updates, some program updates for 24-25, and I'm going to finish up with a few new HESC initiatives that I think you'll like. So let's get started with the 24-25 New York State enacted budget highlights. So the enacted budget provides full support for HESC financial aid programs. There is continued support for over $1 billion in HESC administered financial aid programs, which include TAP, Excelsior, ETA, and all other HESC administered programs. There were some updates to the TAP program that's really going to benefit our New York State students for 24-25. So first of all, the TAP minimum award for students will increase from $500 to $1,000 per year. And as Doris mentioned, this is going to increase, will benefit 93,000 students, which will include 48,000 newly eligible students per TAP. In addition, a part-time TAP was expanded to include proprietary colleges, and we estimate that that'll be about 1,200 students will be able to benefit from part-time TAP. The income level for TAP was also increased for 2025, which is great news. For dependent students, the New York State net taxable limit for TAP eligibility has increased from $80,000 to $125,000. For married independent students, the net taxable income will increase from $40,000 to $60,000, and for single independents, the NTI will increase from $10,000 to $30,000. So this is really great news for New York State's families with children attending New York State colleges. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the HESC processing to update these new limits and minimum awards. So programming has begun to update new award minimums and to increase the income threshold. There will be new award schedules as well to identify these limits. So as for an example, in the 22-23 year, a dependent student was processed on Schedule B. For 24-25 academic year, there's going to be a new schedule with a different letter, so these students will receive the awards using the new guidelines. We do not yet have the exact naming convention, but we have asked IT to provide it to us because we understand that schools will need to know the new schedule and letter in order to update your programming. So we will get that out to you shortly. The formulas used in assessing the award values have been updated and provided to schools who requested it with the homegrown systems to develop your own estimators. We also provided Shirley Clark at the SECA Center the information to update the SECA Center. Once the new website, which I'm going to discuss in a few minutes, I will have information posted for your use. HESC is updating the logic for the TAP estimator, which is hosted on the HESC website and will be available shortly. Students will continue to be processed using our current TAP schedule until we have updated programming in place. So once programming is in place, all student awards will be recalculated using the new income levels and minimum award amounts. So students who were deemed ineligible for income now may be eligible for an award with a higher minimum. Once we recalculate all the awards, because we are going to recalc everyone, the messaging indicating the awards are tentative. The red bar at the top of the award says that it's an estimated until the budget passes. We're leaving the tentative award messaging on there until the new programming is in place. Once we do the recalculation, that tentative award statement will be removed. So let's talk a little bit on some other budget updates. So we're very happy that the New York State TAP Difference Report was completed. It's the first study that examines the 6-year outcomes for students who have benefited from TAP. So the full report is on the HESC website, but a few highlights of the report include TAP recipients were more likely to graduate, earning a bachelor's degree within 6 years compared to students who did not receive TAP. TAP recipients were found to be twice as likely to begin their college education at a 4-year institution and 2 times more likely to complete their education at a 4-year institution. More TAP recipients stayed at New York State schools, with the greatest difference among upward transfers from a 2-year to a 4-year school. TAP advanced educational equity. TAP recipients saw reductions in the gap in 6-year completion rates between disadvantaged and advantaged subgroups. 60% of TAP recipients for the academic years 2013 and 2014 completed their 4-year degrees in 6 years, as compared to 26% who did not receive the TAP. So we have it on our website right now. On the current website, it is under the annual reports and financial statements at the bottom of the home page. So I do encourage you to take a look at the report. It was very interesting and really fact-finding, and we will be doing more of these types of reports. So stay tuned for more detail coming about our programs. Several other scholarship programs received funding increases. The Patricia McGee Nursing Scholarship, the Young Farmers Loan Forgiveness Program, and the New York State Child Welfare Scholarship all received additional funding for 24-25. The McGee Scholarship received an additional $1 million for a total of $4.9 million. The Young Farmers Loan Forgiveness received $50,000 for a total of $200,000, and the Child Welfare Scholarship received $100,000 for a total of $150,000, which is all good news with additional funding for these programs as well. The FAFSA completion was another component in the 24-25 budget. The universal FAFSA completion was included in this year's budget. So beginning for 24-25 academic year, as Doris mentioned, school districts must ensure every high school senior completes a FAFSA or DREAM application. For students who choose not to apply, the student must sign a waiver indicating that they are aware of the financial opportunities afforded to them by filing an application, but choose not to pursue it. So we're really excited about this new initiative. We obviously want all New York State students to get as much funding as possible to go to college. So HESC will support the efforts of the Universal FAFSA completion. And here are just some of the planned activities that we have. So as we've done in the past, HESC will continue to educate students and their families on the advantages of filling out the FAFSA or DREAM Act application, so that families can secure the maximum amount of financial aid available and assist students in pursuing post-secondary education. We are also establishing an all-inclusive resource at FAFSA Ready New York. Here, students, parents, and educational professionals can obtain crucial information with ease. HESC has also worked with the governor's office to draft a letter from the governor to each New York State high school senior to encourage them to complete their FAFSA application and take full advantage of financial aid programs and resources available to them. We will continue to schedule FAFSA completion events to assist students with the completion of their FAFSA and TAP application. And I just want to take a minute to thank all of you on the phone who have been so generous with their time and helped us with these FAFSA completion events. It truly is a group event, and we appreciate all the help that we get from our college partners in these events. We are continuing. We have a couple in May, and we have a couple in June. So we do have a number of FAFSA completions, and we'll just keep adding more as the months go on. We also have social media campaigns that are aimed at raising student and family awareness of the advantages of FAFSA completion. And we're going to be partnering with New York State agencies and prominent businesses such as Price Chopper and Market 32 grocery stores and Uber to promote awareness of our program. So we have a very busy schedule with more to follow. So let's take a few minutes now to look at some processing updates. So I think, as we are all very aware, it has been a bit of a challenge with the 24-25 FAFSA processing this year. HESC began ISIR testing on March 22nd, 2024, after going through the ISIR layouts to review and update the fields so they would process in the HESC system accurately. This required new programming with the ISIR layouts and the messaging codes, which were very different than they were for 23-24. So I know that everyone, including our college partners, have spent a great deal of time sorting all of this out. So it was determined by the federal government that for the 24-25 year, the TAP application would not be pre-filled from the FAFSA link. This is just not for HESC, but for all state agencies, as they felt that there was not enough time to program for this. Students can still link to the TAP application from the FAFSA, but they would need to complete all data on the TAP application, as opposed to in the past when it was pre-filled most of the demographic information. However, for those students that did the FAFSA and then they did not use the link to go into the TAP application, and they did not save or submit the TAP application prior to the FAFSA, those students, once we receive the FAFSA results, the ISIR information, they will receive an email reminder from HESC to apply for TAP with a link that they can go and apply, and that part of the application would be pre-filled with the demographic information. So that is what we have done in past years. If the student misses the link on the FAFSA, once we get the information, we will send them an email telling them to apply and provide the link. So that is still in effect. For this year, we allowed students to save or submit a TAP application prior to submitting the FAFSA. The TAP application opened in November to allow students to get a jump start on the financial aid application process for 24-25. Once the ISIRs were on the system, HESC began to process TAP applications. Students with a valid ISIR with an SAI listed had their TAP application processed. Saved applications with a valid SAI and ISIR were sent an email to complete the application and submit their TAP application. Those with no ISIR on file, but who had a TAP application, were sent an email to complete the FAFSA, which allowed for the TAP to be processed. Once the FAFSA is received and processed at HESC, the TAP application will be processed. And those students who had a TAP application but no ISIR will have their TAP application deleted on July 1st of 2024. HESC could send a number of emails, and we will continue to send email reminders to these students that they do need to file the FAFSA application in order for the TAP award to process. But if on June 30th they have not done a FAFSA, then their TAP application will be deleted. So let's talk a little bit about processing and where we are in the process. So as of April 29th, 372,427 TAP applications have been processed, which is pretty good considering we only began processing them on April 15th, 2024. I do want to make you aware of this specific population of applications which were deleted based on the processing status of the ISIR results. This is not a new process for HESC, but in prior years, students would not have been able to complete the TAP application because of the status of the FAFSA results. So these are students who have an invalid ISIR. And the reasons were the ISIR was rejected, they have a date of birth mismatch, they didn't list in New York State College, they had an invalid citizenship. Not that we're questioning it, but it was invalid, or an invalid social security number. So this population of students, if they applied for TAP, the TAP application was deleted because it was an invalid ISIR. In the past, in 2023, the student would have never been able to even do an application. So we didn't have enough information to process because it is rejected and invalid. So these people were, their application was deleted. They were notified by HESC with instructions to go to studentaid.gov to make the appropriate FAFSA corrections. And once they make the corrections and we get a valid ISIR, they can reapply for TAP. So we did send them email already, and we have already taken care of this population. So HESC has been busy working on any items in the TAP application that need further review and processing. So staff has been very busy reviewing and updating citizenship documentation as well as residency questionnaires. We are also working on the request for information documents that are needed to determine eligibility. Sonia's done a great job of cross-training staff, and on a daily basis, we determine the needs of what program we need to work on, what things we need in so we can get documentation processed quickly and efficiently so students can receive their award in a timely manner. As you are all aware, all students must go through the IVP process with Tax and Finance, which began on April 19th. And just so you know, that runs twice a week. Currently, we have a small backlog of documents, and there should be no documents pending longer than about 2 weeks. We will continue to monitor the mailboxes and uploads and for documentation and shift staff as needed so long backlog is avoided. So we're in pretty good shape considering we started a little late and there's a flood of applications coming in, documentation coming in that we need to look at. So not too bad this year. For the 24-25, we are going to be updating the logic for the student status listing based on a request from our school partners who's indicated that they needed additional information to appropriately inform students of their TAP eligibility. So for 24-25 on the SSL, these categories will be included. So students who are approved and verified with a TAP award, that is what you're getting in 2023. So that stays the same. What is new on the student status listing are students with high income denials following IVP, students who are denied and missing information such as signature pages and income. What you will not see, which will not be on there, are students pending IVP. They're not going to be on the SSL. But these additional 2 categories are items that you can help us with getting the documentation and the information. And it's also information that you need to update your system so the student is getting one concise outreach on what their TAP eligibility is. So right now, programming is in development for these changes. We will notify you when we begin to send the new SSL information, but in the meantime, HESC will continue to provide the student status listing using last year's logic, and schools will only receive those students fully approved with a positive TAP dollar award. So we'll keep you posted on when we have this programming in place and when the new information will be going out. They are working on it now, so hopefully not too long. Documentation for 2024 is also on the HESC website to share with students as needed. They are located on the current website under the financial aid portion of the website, so you can feel free to share with your students those who require additional documentation if they're in your office. The one thing that we ask is that you do not provide the upload link for HESC documentation on your website, as the uploads are very year specific. What we found is that we were finding documents for 2023 in the 2022 upload, and when we go to the school's website, we saw that you had it posted out on your website. So we're going to ask that you don't do that part of it. You should instead direct the student to upload into their HESC account. So they can upload it right into their HESC account, and then it goes into the appropriate year, the appropriate category, and that is the quickest way for processing. So information located under the secure forms and bulletin, and items such as updated student status listing, record layout, the 2024 TAP change form, updated residency questionnaire. We're going to be adding more forms there when the APTS application for participation gets sent out. We'll add that there, as well as APTS documents that you need to award students. So check back what's there now you can use, and there'll be more information coming soon as we enhance our awarding for 24-25. So now I'd like to spend a few moments on some programming updates. So as you can see, there are a good number of programs that will be opening this summer for your students. The STEM and McGee Nursing Scholarship have already opened, with the Excelsior, ETA, Math and Science Teaching Incentive Scholarship, Part-Time Scholarship, and Masters in Education opening in the May to June timeframe. I wanted to give you these dates so you knew exactly when they were going to open, although we will be sending out notification when the applications are opening. Also a close date, so you would know when, if you're trying to guide your students when the open and close dates are. So this is all on as a part of the presentation, so you don't need to quickly write it down, but you can just download the presentation and you'll have it all right there. But again, it's on our website, it's on our program page as well, so you'll be able to find it in a lot of resources, and the students will be able to find it if they go to find information about the program. once it's open, there'll be an end date on there as well. So a few reminders for the Aid to Part-Time Study Program. The application to participate for 24-25 will be sent to schools in late May. So this program is a little bit different in that all awards must be fully dispersed for 2023 before we can open the 2024-2025 application year, which is why it is important to certify in a timely manner. At this point, all fall 2023 processing should be complete and awards fully certified. For the spring of 2024, schools must certify within 45 days of the end of the term, so please make sure you follow this timeline to ensure that all your students receive the funds they are entitled to. Another thing that is new this year, Governor Hochul recently announced the Healthcare Workers for Your Future Scholarship. The scholarship provides approximately 500 students with a 2-year full cost of attendance scholarship. Recipients can earn either an associate's or a bachelor's degree in majors such as registered nurse, respiratory therapist, clinical laboratory technologist, radiologic technology, and surgical technologist. So recipients are selected through a lottery process and agree to work in an underserved area in New York State for up to 2 years. We will be hosting a webinar once the details are finalized. Doris, what was the open and close date for the application? I'm sorry, I didn't write that down.
Oh, that's okay. It opened April 30th, and it closes June 24th. June 24th.
Okay, great. So if you have students that are in these fields, you may want to reach out for them and tell them to enter the lottery. Okay, so the college data survey. Every year we have you do a college data survey. It is available for TAP certifying officers to update and will remain open until May 31st, 2024. This is really an important update that is needed as HESC uses this information for outreach efforts, for awarding, for tuition updates, for add drop dates. And I know that some schools may not know yet their tuition or certain parts of their cost of attendance, but if you could just update whatever is available that you can update. You should know what your terms are. You should know what your start end dates are. You should know what your add drop dates are. You should know what staff, because we do a lot of email outreach and we target. We're looking to just reach out to the bursar. So we get the bursar list off of the information that you provide us on this college data survey. So you need to go in, the TAP certifying officer needs to go in and update as much as they can now. And then when you get the final details, you can add to it and get us the information. So if you're not the TAP certifying officer, if you could nudge them on your campus and ask them to go and take a look and make sure that they have updated the survey to the best of their ability based on the information you have now, so that we can have a comprehensive list of information that we need by school. The survey is located under the College tab, under Grants and Scholarships on the HESC website. And as we do every year on May 15th, HESC will be sending the college ID request to students. As you know, the student ID is needed in order to receive information for your students. So HESC will send you a file with all students who indicated that they were attending your school, and this is, again, we're starting for 24-25. The school will update the file with the student ID for the student and return it to HESC. Once HESC processes it, the student drops off the list. But this is a continuous process as students complete their application. So you should try and run this file every time that you receive it so that you can continue to provide us with these student IDs, and we can get you the information on those students, the awards of those students, and any information back to the school, because without a student ID, they will not be on a student status listing. So the outgoing file is the HE 9751, and then the schools return the file as an HE 9752 or an HE 5794 file. So this is not a new process. I just wanted to let you know that we are starting it again, and to please try and keep it as current as possible. If anyone has any questions about this process, they can contact Priority Services, and we'll be happy to walk you through it. And finally, I would like to provide you some information on some new exciting HESC initiatives. So HESC is going to be launching a new public website in mid-May. We're very proud to provide schools, students, and families with a site that has simplified and improved navigation with a new intuitive design. The new website will allow for college professionals to sign up for notifications from HESC, and also allow you the option to unsubscribe or to change your address. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our current distribution list, and that's where we're going to start. If you're not getting information on our distribution list, you can go in, you can sign up for notifications. If you change schools or you change email addresses, you can go in and edit or delete your old account and unsubscribe and subscribe with your new information. So I know that in the past it's been kind of difficult sometimes for new employees to get on our distribution list. So this way you're monitoring it yourself, it's up to date, and it'll make it much easier for you to get all the information you need from HESC. So it's also going to contain an expanded and user-friendly information on New York State programs and event pages. So it's more to what the students would like to see. And it will have an improved mobile responsiveness for easy access to HESC content on any device. So I'm looking forward to getting that up and running. Here's just a screenshot of what you would see and what it looks like today. So we're very excited. I think you're going to like it once you have it. I think it'll be much easier to navigate and more information of what you need on here. So, and our new presentations, this presentation that will be recorded, will be on the new website as well as soon as we get there, as well as the FAQs and the presentation itself. We're also enhancing tutorials for students and going to create additional informational tutorials for colleges as well. So the students seem to like going and just getting a snippet of what they need, like how do I change my school code? So the tutorials for students have been very positive, and I think it's good for the colleges as well. Maybe you just want to know something about ability to benefit, or maybe you just want to know something very simple and you don't want to have to look through a lot of things. So if we can have tutorials on just one piece of it, how to certify APTS, that is what we're looking to get for you going forward. So we also planned some additional training sessions this summer, which will be recorded and posted on the new website. So I'm looking to do Excelsior and ETA training shortly before the application opens in May. I know there's not a lot of new folks that are now working on these programs, so it is time to have a one-on-one training and go through everything with you. We're also looking to do consolidated roster training, APTS training, and payments training. So you can watch for any of these trainings this summer. If there's something else that you would like us to do some training on, we're happy to accommodate. If you just let us know, and we will schedule something. So that is what I have today for the HESC update, and I want to thank you for taking the time with us today. We know it's a very busy time, but we thought that this was important, and we wanted to get the information to you. So now, if there's any questions, Sonia, do we have any questions?
Sonia, just a quick comment before we go to the questions. Because our comms team just sent me a note that today we did send out a bulletin to all the schools about the healthcare workers for our future. And we included in there downloadable flyer that schools can distribute to display for students to help them learn more about this full ride scholarship. So just be on the lookout for that. That's new since our call this morning. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you, Doris. So one question was, will Excelsior income limits increase since the TAP awards have increased?
No, the Excelsior and ETA income levels are not increasing. But what you might find is a student now may be eligible for a minimum TAP award, which would impact their Excelsior scholarship.
Thank you. Are students eligible for part-time TAP and APTS at the same time?
Yes, they are eligible for both programs, but there's a couple caveats that you have to be careful of. You cannot exceed the total number of points for the TAP program per year, and also because both programs will get charged points, so you need to be careful of that. You also don't want to use up their eligibility too quickly. If they're part-time students and they're going to be, taking a longer time to graduate, you don't want to use the maximum yearly points for 1 year. And then at the end of their college career, they may be out of TAP points. So those are things that you really need to look at. There is a bulletin. It is exception processing. The part-time TAP must be awarded and certified first, and then APTS. The set of instructions are on a bulletin from February 3rd. I believe it was 2023. So take a look, and it gives you the steps. And if you have both programs, the part-time TAP again pays first, and that is electronically certified on our system. And then you send us a spreadsheet, and we manually pay the APTS on your behalf. So take a look at the bulletin. If you have any questions, the APTS address is right there. So please feel free to call us or to email us, and we will help you with any questions.
Okay, and just a clarification has been requested of when will students be required to file the FAFSA or sign the waiver? That is for the 24-25 academic school year. Looking through the questions. One question is, if a student did not provide you with an email, how are they being notified? Students are mailed information if they don't provide an email address on their TAP application. Lisa, there's a question of how will schools know when the formulas are ready?
We'll send out information about the formulas. I'm just waiting for the new schedule numbers. Once we get the schedule numbers, we can post out the formulas. If you're a school that does either a TAP estimator on your own system or you have a homegrown system, if you want to send an email to Priority Services, I can get you the information that you will need. Also, we'll post it out to our current website once I get the schedules, which I hope to have by the end of the week.
Okay, thank you. There is a question regarding provisionally independent FAFSA forms that we may receive. If HESC receives an ISIR that does not have a student aid index, then we cannot process that TAP application. So the TAP application is removed from our system. The subsequent ISIR, the subsequent valid ISIR will generate a TAP application for the student to process. So it'll be the pre-populated application. They'll get an email with the link to the application in the email. They can complete that application and submit it. But we must have a valid ISIR on file in order to process the TAP application. We use many of the edits from the ISIR for other purposes to verify identity and other things about the student's application. There's a question about what is the upload link? This is a link that students have from their student account. You know, when you go to the HESC website, you see partner access and student access. So when the student goes to their account, they can upload documents through that account. And we're asking you not to use the upload link that you may get from a student's account, because that upload link is year specific. So when we ask for documents for 24-25, they go to that particular link. If you're submitting information through that link and it's for 22, 23, 24, or even 26, 27, it's not going to the appropriate folder, and it may be missed if that year is not open. So please have the student upload documents from their account, and please don't post the link on your school website. Those were primarily all the questions, Lisa and Doris.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We will have this posted out on the website, so you can have it. Again, the copy of the presentation is out there now, but we'll get the rest of the information and the recording out shortly with the FAQs. Doris, anything?
No, just want to thank everyone on the team here and for everyone who joined. We're here for you, and we hope that this was an informational session for you. Thank you so much.